coming from an African home, growing up in Nigeria also, football is not considered any future, any career. My parents were my first obstacle. My parents thought like I was about to waste my life because I want to play football. You could see that I'm struggling financially, because I post with bad cleats, bad football cleats. So you could tell that I'm struggling.
But you could afford a phone to record.
Yeah, then thank God
whose
for my
phone was
sister.
it?
My sister got me a techno, one of the C series. There.
When no one believed in his dream, not even his parents, Stanley Godians still chose football. From representing Africa at Neymar's freestyle tournament to chasing a professional career, he has crossed borders, moved from country to country in search of one real opportunity. Injuries tried to slow him and setbacks tested his will, but his journey continues, driven by resilience and sacrifice, forever moving in pursuit of happiness.
Something suspicious happened.
Okay.
My transfer market profile was changed from my old club while I was there. I am very 100% sure that the club updated it.
This was brought to you by Save Drinks. Thank you very much, Stanley, for making out the opportunity for us to have this interview. It's a very good one and interesting one, I must tell you. And we definitely want to know a whole lot, about the journey so far, what it has been from the beginning. And I need to ask this one, let's go straight to the point. First of all, when was that point in time that you realized that, this game called football is meant for me?
Okay, I think it was when I was still with my parents, when I was a kid, I think around 15, 16 years old. I just noticed that I had special likeness for football, which is not normal as at that age. And after my secondary school, I just decided that I would start, a proper career, and yeah, that was how I found myself here.
And looking at that decision you took, did it come with some challenges, like maybe from your parents or the environment you grew up in? I'm very sure there might be some things that came up in between. So what was it like?
I mean, coming from an African home, growing up in Nigeria also, football is not considered any future, any career, in it.
But people are making money.
Yeah, of course. My parents didn't want me to play. Initially, my parents were my first obstacle. My dad didn't want me to play because the family, we were so poor to the point where, my parents thought like I was about to waste my life because I want to play football. They want you to go to school, get a job, so you can help the family. So then I had big problem with my family, even I had to basically leave the house. That's how bad it is, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's the first challenge was my parents, not even the country. It was my parents. I had to deal with that, and the thing I did was to leave, to go stay with my sister in a different location entirely, just because of the pressure I was having from my parents.
Okay, now Stanley, you have a very interesting startup to your career, and many people might not know that you are a football freestyler, and that was like basically your pathway into professional football. And this football freestyling, how did it all begin?
I mean, first of all, just to clear the air, I'm not a freestyler basically, because I think that's a different career on its own. I mean, no disrespect to that, but I basically feel like I am not. The reason why I started freestaling was basically to get more attention, because it's
but it's
more
still part of the passion.
Yeah, of course, yes. I mean, I had to figure out what I can do to get eyes see me. And then the best way I can go about it as at that time was to start freestyling, because for me, I think just playing football is basically boring for people to watch, because people don't want to watch football. So when you do something that is extraordinary, people will want to watch.
You catch their attention.
Yeah, so at that time I needed that visibility from people, so I had to start freestyling. I didn't have it naturally in me, but I had to develop myself into it, and with time I got really good at it, and that was it.
Okay. Now, talking about this freestyling now, it sent you on a path I'm sure you never knew was going to happen.
Absolutely.
Which is the Neymar 5. And what was the journey like? You know, beginning that competition. Did you ever know that you were going to be the one to win that edition in Nigeria and go to Qatar, right?
Yeah, it was Qatar.
For the the global edition.
Yeah.
So what was the story like?
I mean, an inspirational story, to be honest. An unbelievable, basically something that happens once in a decade.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And
you met Neymar one-on-one.
Yeah, I met with him. Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, it still feels like yesterday.
The real Neymar Junior.
Yeah, of course.
Wow.
First, I will take you back to how the whole thing started. You know,
okay.
just because we have to. If we take out.
Yeah. Let's have the background story. Yeah.
Yeah. So first of all, my parents, I was born and brought up in Katsina.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Katsina in Nigeria.
Yeah, Katsina in Nigeria, but we had to leave because of the war.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it wasn't like riot, not war, basically like civil.
The tribal situations and all that. Yeah.
So we had to leave. I was basically like 6 years old as at then, and I was told basically. I was told. So after we left, things became very difficult, and that was why I said my parents didn't want me to play, because they thought they felt like playing football would basically waste my time.
Yeah.
And why I also left my parents' place, because as at that time it was basically play football or leave.
Yeah.
And so I had to leave. So I didn't get motivation from nowhere. And nothing was working out for me. No rich uncle, no rich parent, no sponsor, no manager.
Yeah.
It was just me and football. Yeah. So then I decided to come up with the inspiration to post video online.
Okay.
And as at this time, I did few months on Facebook. It was basically nothing. It was useless. So I had to now switch on Instagram. So Instagram was more helpful. I made friends. The first year was very, very difficult. Was very useless. I would say useless. But the second year, everything changed. I started having people started reaching out to me.
Interaction started coming up.
Yeah, it was people reaching out to me with gifts. I mean, yes, people reach out to me. Some people will give me football gifts, football boots.
They were sending it to Nigeria.
Yeah, from abroad. Some people liked what I was doing. Cash gifts also. Yeah, even I was using that to take care of myself. So then my sister got me this phone, and I was using that to record. Camera quality was very bad, but I still could do something with it,
Yeah.
And to be honest, this period in my life, taught me a lot. I had to learn how to edit on my own.
Yeah.
Which is, for me, I feel like as a footballer, it's very important, because you will be your own. Basically your own hype man, your own videographer
and everything. As they say, necessity is the mother of invention.
Of course.
So you had to just look for ways. Yeah.
So I did all this to myself. I became very good, at some point. I could make a low quality video look very good, with my editing skills. So this happened the first year. The first year was just basically learning, improving.
Yeah.
I started posting 12 minutes video. I knew people don't have patience to watch 12
long
minute
videos. Yeah.
So with time, I got to realize that people don't have patience. People want to go straight to the point.
It's a fast-paced world.
Yeah, of course. So I improved my skill, not just on the ball only, but on other things. So the first year was about learning. The second year, I started seeing results, and then one day, the Neymar program. This is how I came across it.
Yeah.
My friend saw it online, the advert, and he sent it to me, and he said, was like, bro, I think you can be seen. I think it can be seen. And immediately I posted my video 3 months later.
So at this point in time, you were in Abuja now, or where were you?
Yeah, I was in Abuja. I was living basically squatting with my sister then.
Okay.
So, and then I posted this video. I didn't want to post the video initially because it was going to be basically millions of entries.
Yeah.
So
you believed, or you thought maybe
I didn't want to post it, but the same guy.
But at the same time, you already had videos already that were like people already reaching out to you.
But I didn't want to be rejected. I did the feeling of being rejected, or probably being not seen.
Yeah,
and then
so you felt
feel
maybe
bad.
other people were better than you.
Yeah, of course. There will be people from Germany, France, all over the world. It's Neymar Junior we're talking about.
Yeah.
So I know they were going to be like 500, 600,000 entries. So then I'm like, this competition is not for us in Africa.
Okay.
So then the guy reached out to me after some days. He said, I noticed that you've not posted about this. And he said, if you don't post, you don't have a chance. And that really, convinced my doubts as at that time. And I was like, okay, I need to make something happen. I need to post something. So immediately I came back from training. I just made a quick edit of some of the footage in this entry. I was playing barefooted with my friends.
Wow.
Yeah, because I just had to quickly do what I can do.
No cleats on.
Yeah, with my friends, on sand pitch, and we call it sand pitch in Nigeria. So yeah, I posted the video. 3 months later, the whole thing happened.
And how did the message come? What were you doing?
Okay, I was just like, the day a man's life changed would be like every other day,
Yeah.
So I woke up and one day after training, I just saw this message from Red Bull official page, around 40 million followers. And
nobody was scamming you.
Yeah. They don't know. They just. I thought. To be honest, I thought it was scam.
I know.
I thought it was scam because we see that a lot.
Yeah.
So I didn't reply to it. They said you have been pre-selected by Neymar. I don't know if this is a problem for me to say because this is like basically.
So who did you tell first? When you saw that?
Okay, there is this shout out to my manager DJ Mexi. This guy changed my life. Also, he met me during that first year, he's a guy that God sent to me personally. He saw me when nothing was happening and he believed in me, and he told me that he's going to help me. And since then, unbelievable guy,
Yeah.
So he was the only one I trust, even more than my parents at that time. So I reached out to him.
Wow.
I said, there is one message I got, but I'm very sure it's one of these guys. And he said, show me the message. I screenshotted it and I sent to him. He said, no, I need to reply to that message. That is the official page of Red Bull.
Yeah.
And when I replied to it, thank God the option was still on for me because I know if I don't reply in 3 days,
so you had replied you had declined the reply. I
just read it and I didn't reply. I left it on scene.
Wow.
Yeah, I left them on scene. I left my biggest opportunity on scene.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't reply to it and of course they gave me 3 days to reply. If I don't reply, they will give it to the second runner.
Yeah.
And it's basically like the seven players will be selected from the 7 continents. So I was the only player selected in Africa.
From Africa?
Yeah.
Wow, I'm sitting with greatness here, I must tell you.
Yeah, unbelievable, yeah. So, I went back and I replied and they said, okay, don't post about it. We're going to make an official video and of the 7 players. And I was happy, and the next day, I think about a week, I can't remember what happened, but the day they posted, I was sleeping. They made the post. I woke up in the morning just like every other day. I tried to on my phone. My phone was frozen, Wow. Messages, calls were coming in at the same time. My phone, and probably because of the low quality of the phone, then. And my phone couldn't process all that at the same time. So, and then my sisters, my friends were calling me because the story is, is so strange.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
I didn't discuss about it with anyone, even while I was. So some of my guys were like, "Is it not Stanley we spoke to yesterday? How I'm all over the news already."
So it was more or less, being a professional footballer.
Yeah,
that was the passion. That was what you were chasing.
Yeah, of course. And then I need to say this,
Okay.
While the second year, I was on the second year, I started seeing light in what I was doing. Brands reach out to me, adverts, then I started realizing that I could make money from this.
Yeah, it has huge potentials.
But I didn't know from start. And I would say that helped me a lot. I say this everywhere. That helped me because God just purposely blind me from seeing the benefit of social media other than just focusing on my career. So then I would have probably seen more money and I wouldn't really have the passion to push for football. So then no matter what you pay me, then of course I did few adverts, but no matter what you pay me, I still don't feel satisfied. Because the main goal while I started has not been achieved. I wanted to leave Nigeria to play in Europe. So until that happens, I will not be okay, So then I was living good life, not the best life, but better than the way I started. And but I didn't feel okay until this Neymar thing happened. So when it happened, I told myself, this is what I'm looking for. This is the opportunity I need. Although I didn't know it was going to come this way. What I wanted was travel like every other player. You know, just
Yeah.
go for trials, make your trials, start
Yeah.
your career. I didn't know God was planning something, you know, this big for me, and that was it. I mean, that changed my life basically.
So now, going to Qatar
Mm.
to meet Neymar Jr., what was the journey like?
I mean, from that day they posted, everything changed. You know, people reached out to me. How can we help you? How can we be part of this? You know,
Yeah.
and you know they always say preparation. When preparation meets opportunity, you
Yeah,
know, I was
success. Yeah.
already. I had a brand on my
Already,
own. You know,
yeah.
my name was my brand already. You
Yeah.
know, I think I had close to like 300,000-400,000 followers at that time.
Wow.
So when this happened, you know, people know me as, you know, a hardworking player online, you know, so people felt like I deserved what happened to me. So the
Yeah.
support was too much, you know.
Yeah.
People gave me money, 1 million, then, you know, 2 million. You know, some people paid, some people decided to also sponsor, even though the trip was already paid for. You know,
Are you
how can
looking
we
for a
help?
manager? Because I think I need to manage
We
you.
will talk about that after.
Okay.
So as at that time, it was really, life was really good. You know, I was happy. Everything
Yeah.
was happening really fast. You
Fast,
know,
yeah.
and one of the dreams that I accomplished there was, you know, watching the Premier League. We always see during halftime, you always see Super Sport.
Yeah.
And people talk on Super Sport, and you know, you always wish to be there. You see
There.
players go there, you know, and then I was told by Red Bull that you are going to go on Super Sport.
Wow.
You know, and I didn't believe it. Then it was in Lagos, so they prepared me. I went like 2 times to this interview, and when I went there, it was unbelievable. You know, I made videos. You know, I made videos. My body was shaking because I've never been to any
Yeah.
formal interview in my
Yeah.
life. So that was like the first interview, and you know, I met with. I mean, I was standing basically on this stage that I've been watching as you know, all my childhood, and that was like the biggest. As at that time, it was the biggest achievement for me then. You know, and after that, they also prepared me. I traveled. Qatar also was unbelievable. You know, I had so much personal gift from Neymar. Yes, and they also made like I don't know the name. I don't know what I would call this, but they made a program.
Okay.
It was like a football clinic.
Okay.
But it was just basically for me.
Wow.
Yeah, players came. I have videos of this. You know, players came and they handed me over their gift sent by Neymar. So this gift is like the trophy.
Yeah.
So the 7 player, everybody have this. It's
Yeah.
a special gift from Neymar. I don't know how to describe it. It's like an award, a personal jersey signed by him. You
Yeah.
know, Red Bull, some other stuff, your tickets to come and
To
everything.
come and
you
all
know.
that. Okay.
So many things were inside, and they will hand it over to you. You know, make videos and all. I've never seen anything like that before. You know, so.
Okay. So let's go back now to professional football because that was the path that you started
True,
on.
true.
That's where you wanted to go to. So coming back from Qatar, you still had your dream in your heart. You want to fulfill this dream of becoming a professional. Egypt.
Yeah.
Egypt
Yeah.
was now the next country. And how did that happen? What happened there? Was it that now you now have a manager or maybe offers started coming in saying, okay, I have this opportunity for you here. And you said already that your dream was to play in Europe.
Yeah.
But this is Africa, it's not Europe. So why did you go to Egypt?
The Egypt one came. The Neymar program things was the spark, you know, that brought all the other. I had offers from different clubs.
Yeah.
And from Qatar, while I was on the program, I got contact. It was from Zamalek, you know Zamalek.
Yeah, Zamalek football.
It was from Zamalek. I got contacted by Zamalek to come. So while the program ended, I went back to Nigeria, and I think about a month later, I went to Egypt to Zamalek. I was with them for about 1 month, and it didn't work because I mean, sometimes I don't like to say it, but it's about contracts, and no, it's not about football performance. So it was about contract. The duration was longer than how I expected, and I mean, my dream is to play in Europe.
Yeah.
And the contract they were offering was basically too long, you know. So it didn't work, and I was even at the point of going back to Nigeria. Then another first division club in Egypt, I called MP.
MP, okay.
Yeah, they reached out to me, you know, so we could negotiate on something fair.
Okay.
And I stayed. I decided to stay. But my stay in Egypt also, I wouldn't say is a waste. I also learned from it, you know. First time played as a professional footballer.
Yeah.
And I didn't have any formal experience from Nigeria. There was no experience. So the Egypt one, no matter how the experience is for me, is still a plus for me because I didn't have any formal experience. So in Egypt, I got to know how a professional life looks like. You know, when players would be given flats, you know, to live alone, you know, paid salary. Before I was playing for free. Yeah. And in about 3-4 months, I'm earning salary already. Yeah. Maybe not the best deal because at this point I didn't have an agent. You know, everything happened so fast,
so quick. Yeah.
And I just found myself playing football somewhere in another country. You know, so but I will still be grateful to God. I don't want to go deep in what happened in Egypt, but I still take everything as a period of learning for me. You know, I learned so much that gave me a clue of what a professional life looks like. And when I went to Europe finally, it wasn't really hard for me to adapt because of the experience I had in Egypt.
Okay, so now after Egypt, you crossed the Mediterranean Sea.
Yeah, of course.
Real crossing the Mediterranean Sea,
of course.
I must say. You know. Yeah. Spain was the next country.
Yeah, Spain.
You've been to too many countries. Yeah, I can't really keep track right now because there are too many countries. So, but we're taking it, you know, step by step. You know. So now we've seen what happened in Egypt. It was a learning curve for you. Yeah. You've been able to see what professional football looks like. Maybe you didn't have a taste of it back in Nigeria, but you had to, you know, finally see what it feels like, you know, when you went to Egypt. And now taking another step again to Spain. And we know what Spain, you know, represents, you know, when it comes to football. You know, the football culture out there is unbelievable. You know, we could see that they've really produced top quality players. The level of football out there is top notch. Were you scared?
I mean, yeah, it's Spain we're talking about.
I know, yeah.
While I was in Egypt, I was on my it was a 6-month contract. Okay. But I had an option to extend, you know. And so while I was on that, I got contacted by a La Liga club, Rayo Vallecano. Yeah. I know this is shocking, but I didn't talk much about it because what is the point talking about a club where you didn't play
for?
So as at that time, my manager, this guy, because
so you've gotten a manager now.
I call him my manager because for me he does everything. Okay. You know, we don't have a contract, but you know, I have seen people, I've seen strangers become brothers in this journey. So for me, we don't need to put pen to paper. You know? I still call him my manager because before anything happens, he has to be there.
Involved.
You know, he has to be there. So he was the one that was handling everything. You know, I needed to go back to Nigeria to quickly tidy up my visa. They sent me a contract. Everything was fine. So at this point, I didn't let my club know what was going on because I just felt I should keep it secret. You know. And while I was playing, I was also processing my visa. Everything was going, and then it was time for me to get the actual stamp so I could travel. So the end of the league, I just bought my ticket. It was today. The game ended today. The next day, I was on my flight back to Nigeria. So when I got to Nigeria, of course, the country, you know, Nigeria happened to me, and I applied for visa. Everything was fine, but my visa got delayed for about 3 months. Wow. Yeah, so this was happening around late November when I went back for this visa, and I was in Nigeria around March the next day. Wow. Yeah, so this delayed everything for me. The club moved on. Of course, I'm not Messi. Yeah. So they moved on. When I finally got the visa, that's even the most. That's why I didn't regret anything. You know, I finally got the visa. So I came to Spain. I found out that they moved on. So I was basically on my own. But at the end of the day, I still was grateful to God because looking back at what happened to me in about a year is basically a plus. I'm in Spain, you know, almost everybody's dream.
You know, but I want us to take a step back right now. You know, remember you said something there. You said you didn't let your team in Egypt know that there's something, you know, cooking. Something is cooking, and you had to keep it to yourself. You know. And you had to go back to Nigeria. At the end of the day, what you went to chase, you didn't get it. Did you regret it?
I mean,
like I could have just maybe stayed in Egypt.
Life is risk. Yes, of course I thought that it was a tough decision going back to Nigeria. Okay. You know, because visa is not promised. We know that.
No.
So, but especially while I was waiting for this visa, a lot was coming into my head. My club started the preseason then as at then. So they sent me invites to come. Of course, I started lying. Okay, my mom is sick. I need to be with her. So when I finished that lie, we went to the second lie. Okay,
Yeah.
now I need to come. I need visa to come. I was just saying everything. They sent me invitation to come, so I was just delaying, and of course, they started the preseason. So now I was waiting for the visa. Of course, as human being, you would think probably you made the wrong decision.
Sure.
But we are talking about Spain.
Spain, yeah.
It's a risk that when you get it, it will be worth it. So why not?
Yeah, yeah.
So of course, at the end of the day, thank God I didn't regret it. I got the visa. I was in Spain, and then yeah.
Okay, so Rayo Vallecano, they had moved on.
Yeah, of course.
And you were still in Spain. And one thing I would always say is that it seems whenever you go to any country, you always have a kind of way to make people know in that country that Stanley Godians is here.
Yeah.
Was that the same situation that happened, that other clubs started reaching out? What can we do? Can we, have you come train with us? Yeah. Can you come, let's, have a taste of what you have? So what was it like now to now get a team in Spain?
Yeah, Spain is a big country, I would say, very big, football, especially big football country, not just the population. People play football, people breed football in this country. When I came to Spain, I realized that I've been joking all my life. Basically, what we were doing in Egypt was a joke. This place, they study football. It's like it's
a
like,
science.
In a different thing. And so first I came, I know it was not going to be easy. The moment I came, and the only thing I could use as an advantage was the platform I've created for myself. And people know me, and then I thought the fame I had as at that time was just basically within Africa. Yes, when I was in Nigeria, I get comments from white kids too, people from different part of the world. But I didn't know that they really know me personally like
when
that.
They see him,
they know me.
When they see you, they know you.
Yeah. So I was thinking probably it's just a normal video that they see on FYP, something. But I didn't know they know me. People really idolize me online.
Yeah.
So when I came to Spain, it was amazing. People could recognize me from the airport. Very shocking, and that also helped me a lot, because if not, I would have been lost in Spain. I could play in few academies for train with them, because while I was not playing with Rayo Vallecano, I needed to train. And, I got free apartments to stay with someone. Wow. Someone offered me an apartment to stay, because then when I moved to Spain, because we are talking about when you are spending naira to euros.
Euros, yeah.
Yes, it's a lot.
It's a whole lot, yeah.
Somebody gave me an apartment to stay. I was there for about 3 months. So that was it. I could just play around Spain, find my way. But I just noticed that the country was difficult. The reason why I left Spain was I just see myself wasting time here, because I would end up playing in like 10th division for 2 years, 3 years. So
basically, are you saying that the competition was
it was too much yeah. And then I didn't come with the plan I had, which is the plan A, didn't work.
Okay.
Of course, I didn't just come into the country, yeah. So it didn't work, and then there was no plan B anyways. Okay. There was no plan B, so I didn't get an agent. I tried to reach out personally to some people, but of course, they couldn't help.
Yeah.
They couldn't help. So I just had to advise myself, okay, you know what? I'm going to leave this country, go to a more easier place, make a name for myself, and then we will see what happens,
Okay, now, Egypt down, Spain down.
Yeah.
Which country was next?
Yeah, it was Poland.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Poland. It was a short trip in Poland. When I came to Poland, interesting, I was in Poznan in Poland.
Okay, that was the first city you
went
to?
First city, yeah. Okay. I was in, I wouldn't say I really stayed in Warsaw. It was just a night.
Okay.
A night, and then I went to Poland, Poznan. Lech Poznan, I had few contacts with them. I wanted to really stay, but also a big club, And then it was a short experience I had in Egypt.
Yeah.
Just for 6 months, so it wasn't really strong. The profiles at them wasn't really strong for me to be able to.
Yeah, to just break into
the team. Teams, so so Lech Poznan is a big club, the first division. So they didn't really show much interest. Yes, they wanted me. They respected the fact that I was popular, famous. They gave me opportunity to train, but I could see that not even in football, not just the football ability. These people want to see that you have experience where you are coming from, because the experience is the most important thing to them. Yeah. So I just noticed that I can't play, I can't stay here. And then I don't want to waste time. So from Poland, I went to Lithuania.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot of journey.
Okay.
So Lithuania was where the whole journey really started. You know, a first division team contacted me there, so I went there immediately. They play in the Premier League, so
Yeah.
you know, Lithuania is a very small country.
Yeah.
The football is still growing
Yeah.
there. So you could easily break into the first division. And then, I mean, this is what I tell people: as long as you play in the first division of any country,
Yeah, you should get
even if
noticed.
you play in Mali,
Yeah.
in the first division of Mali.
Yeah, respect to Mali.
Yes, respect. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
you know,
the smallest country, you
yeah.
know, as long as you play in the first division, you will still be respected. You are a professional player, you
Yeah.
know. So this is basically the mistake, and what I learned also, you know, going because it's Germany, you want to play Germany because of the name. No, it doesn't work that way. So Lithuania, small country, their football is still good, very good.
Players like Terry Murphy,
they
all started there.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when I came there, the club gave me, you know, it's easy to get a trial opportunity from this level.
Yeah.
So immediately I was on trial. The coach loved me. Everything was fine. The agent that brought me, it was where I had issue with. You know, I was there for 3 months with this club. I was part of the club. I was basically part of the club. I was a project of the club.
So you were playing matches at this point
Yeah, I
in
played
time?
a lot of friendly games. I was given all the official kits, you know, as a player. But when it got to, you know, time of negotiation, that was where I had issue because I wasn't the one talking for myself.
Okay.
So I didn't know what really went down. But I just noticed that the relationship was broken.
Wow.
Yeah. So and I mean I had to leave because it's something beyond my control, and you know you don't want to get involved. These are management issues.
Yeah.
So I had to basically leave after 3 months.
Okay. Now looking at this current situation in Lithuania. Would you say it's because, you know, you didn't have a manager?
Of course. That's where, you know, you can't do this alone. You can't do this by yourself. You know, the fame gives you an opportunity, but also there are other things that you need to add to it. You know, the fame doesn't mean you would become a professional player automatically. You know, So that's another thing I come to realize, that yes, this gives you the opportunity to be here, but it doesn't mean you will be here.
Yeah.
So, of course, that's where I was lacking really, you know, seriously. I needed, you know, somebody to give me the last push.
Okay.
So I didn't have that at that time.
Up till now, you've really mentioned moments when things did not go well.
Yeah.
And I want to know right now, who is Stanley Godians when things are not going well?
I mean, there is a different guy behind what you see right now, because I've faced a lot of things. Sometimes I don't. People look at me online and they think everything is good.
Yeah.
You know, of course.
Everyone is struggling.
We don't look like our problem.
Our problems, yeah.
You know, there are times where, you know, you go to it, they tell you about a club is in a country, you go to a country, and then you go to that country, you don't see anything like that, you know, false information, and then you have to go back. You know, I mean, this is basically my mental health, my mentality as a Nigerian is something I really prioritize. You know, it's something that I really I'm very strong personally as a person. So
which means on this journey, mental strength, mental toughness, you know, is very essential.
Yeah, of course, you have to be very strong. You must be very strong.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now we've talked about Egypt, we've talked about Spain, we've talked about Lithuania, and now what's the next country now? Yeah,
of course. While I was in Lithuania, I made a friend. Yeah, I made a friend in this team, in the 3 months, a Latvian guy. Yeah, his name is Dennis.
Okay.
So he also, his contract also in negotiation didn't work.
He's a fellow player.
Yeah, player. You know, Latvia shares border with Lithuania. So it's
a Baltic country.
Yeah, something like that. So he came from Latvia to Lithuania, but it didn't work. So he went to Czech. This is how I came to Czech. So when he left, I stayed back in Lithuania, you know, trying to look for other opportunity. So he called me one day and said, "There's a club. You know, I know the sport director. I told him about you, and you know the way I explained everything, and then you know when somebody is telling a sport director that this person is better than me, you know that type of what do you call it, like a referral.
Referral, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then the man said, okay. Immediately, you know, the man called me and said, we need you in the club, and he told me salary range and everything, and I was okay.
Were you fine with it, or at that point in time you had no option? Because there are two things there. You know, Stanley Godians, everybody knows
Yeah.
you on social media,
Mm.
you know, you're kind of popular.
Mm.
So at that point in time, were you still looking at, oh, is this salary is too low for me? I think I deserve more.
Well,
Or I want to get
yeah.
to the top, you know, of this game.
Well, it has, to be honest, not
Yeah.
because of anything.
Okay.
It has never been about money from the start.
Mm.
Yes, I have everybody that knows me personally
Yeah.
from Nigeria. People know me.
Okay.
I love football so much. I want to play football.
Okay.
So, and when I had the taste of that feeling in Egypt,
Yeah.
I told myself, this is what it
No
is.
going back here.
Yes. You know, match day, every
Yeah.
weekend you are excited.
Yeah.
You want to win game. You want to play.
The adrenaline rush.
Yes. You want to play. Like in Egypt, I had, you know, before in Nigeria, match day, we are walking to the stadium.
Yeah.
You are still excited. In Egypt, you know, dressed from home, you know, you come to the bus, you meet with your teammates, you know, you go to the stadium, you know, a full packed stadium, you know.
Yeah.
You know, I had that feeling. I'm like, this is what it is. I don't care about what the condition is. I just want to play.
Play.
So when I went to, when I went to Lithuania, you know, the way they valued me in the club, because of course I came and I played the coach, like, you know, so I could, you know, in my head, I know what the salary range is. This is a first division club. So, I mean, salary range there was 2,000 euros, 2,500, you know, something like that. So then, I mean, when I was now hearing this, the other price from the other club, it was basically, you know, but more than half of what it was from the other side. I'm like, okay, this is going to be tough.
Okay.
Because from there, you know, I've had this. I didn't know that, you know, first division. It was a first division club.
Okay.
So in my mind, I thought this is like the normal salary I would get everywhere. You know. So then when the guy told me, okay, this is what we pay here, and it was tough for me, but I told him yes, I will play. You know, because it has never been about money. I just want to play, and then you know, all this happened like, okay, from Poland, from Spain, Poland, you know, it's been like 5 months I haven't played real football. So the hunger was there. I needed to play. So I told him I'm coming, and then they got ticket for me. I went to Spain, to Czech.
To Czech Republic.
Yeah. So,
and in Czech Republic, because you said that he had already referred you to the club, and hope you didn't disappoint him.
I mean, I went to Czech. It was where I really developed as a player, because I had game time, you know, game time, you know, time,
week in, week out.
Week in, week out.
Yeah.
You know, I went there. They liked me not just because they called me to come. You know, I played and they loved me in the club. You know, that was where I really know what it means to be a star player in a team. You know, where you go into a team, your club is depending on you. You know, you are like the main guy. Yes, that
and also, as you say, you're the main guy for your team. Yeah. That's how you're also going to be a target for your position.
Yes, and then with my social media, you know, influence also, because after playing the game, I come edit it, post it online. You know, so everything was really, you know, not the best in terms of the financial aspect. Of course, it was nothing to write home about, but the football itself, I enjoyed it. I played football. I played games upon games, you know, knowing that the next game you're going to play, you know. In Egypt, it wasn't like that. I cannot predict that I will play the next game. But in Czech, I could predict that, you know, until I would be injured. You know, so I played. I had all the, you know, it was a great season for me. Yes, there. Yeah.
So now, I really want to ask this question now, because most players always believe that I'm meant to be playing for a top club. You know, I'm meant to be with a top team. Within yourself, do you believe you have what it takes to play for a top club in Europe here? Do you think you have gotten to that level that you can say, I can be a player that this club can depend on, and I'm not going to disappoint them? Because most players are like, oh, I can also do it. You know, see what Osimhen is doing, I can do it. You know, it's not easy.
It's not easy.
The pressure is much, because this time around it's not just, you know, playing on sand, you know, and all that, you know. It's real. This is real life here. You know, it's tough. So at this point in time now, can you say, okay, I have what it takes to play at that level? Because the demands, I'm very sure you have seen it.
I understand.
Egypt alone, you already said what you saw there was something else. So if a player is seeing the level of competition out there in Egypt, talk less of when he went to Spain, talk less of when he went to Lithuania or Poland, you know. Now, within yourself now, do you think you can say, yes, I have what it takes, I'm ready?
Yeah, I would say if you ask me this few years, I mean,
Back?
two years ago, I would
Okay.
say no.
Okay.
Because yeah, I thought then.
Okay, you thought you were
Yeah,
ready.
then, but when I
Because
came
I
and I
think the
saw,
same
yeah,
thing too. Like
yeah,
many young players always say, I can do it, I can do it, you know. And when you throw them out there,
no,
you know, it's a different ball game
yeah,
entirely.
it's different. You know,
Yeah.
before I thought, when I was in Egypt, I thought even when I came, they gave me few opportunities. You know, there are times where you play, but you don't play good, but in your mind, you think you played good.
Yeah.
And then they say, no, you don't play good.
Yeah.
And you'll be like, but I was, you know, I was everywhere on the pitch,
Yeah.
you know. And then, you know, you don't know what was lacking. You don't know why they said you didn't play good, why you didn't, why you would not play the next one. So then I thought probably I was good and probably they didn't like me, you know, that much. I played few games, not good numbers of games,
Okay.
but I played few games. So, but when I moved to Europe, I realized, you know, everything, and I noticed that, you know, it's about instruction. Football is about instruction.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter
following
how
into
good
the
you are.
latter.
Yes, instruction. Last minute, even, you know, when people, you know, in football towards the 80th minute,
Okay.
people start playing out of position, out of instruction, because it's, you know, it's more chaotic at this time. You know, people want to win, you know, everything going on. But you see professional football, even at the 90th minute, they still play on position. They still play to the pattern of the team.
Yeah.
So these are things that I didn't know, you know, before, and I just want to be everywhere on the pitch. And it doesn't work that way. You can't be everywhere on the pitch.
No, you can't be.
So you have to play to instruction. So when I came to Europe was when I learned that, you know, that playing to instruction is the most important thing. Even if you don't know how to play, playing to coach instruction will make you play every game in that season. But sometimes you don't know. I'm a good player, you know, you say to yourself, but at the end of the day, you don't know why you are not playing games. It's because he says you should stay here, but you are not staying here. You know, just one movement, just an inch would cost your team a goal. Maybe a pass will be breaking that line.
Yeah.
So, but because you are there,
playing out of position.
yes, and sometimes they don't blame you when you play to position. They don't blame you because you are basically where they say
you did
you
what
should
you
stay.
wanted. Yeah, what you had to do.
So these are things that I didn't know. The coach was trying to tell me you are a good player, but stay here. But I wasn't staying.
And this takes me to another very important thing also. You know, how do you take feedback? Because you just mentioned it. They're telling you something.
Yeah.
How do you receive this information?
That's why I said.
What's your ability to understand this information that is being passed to you and also process it? You know, are you the kind of player that maybe they tell you like, okay, you know, I think I did this, and you're trying to argue. So what should be the attitude?
That's why I said 2 years ago,
Yeah.
2-3 years ago, I would say yes, I'm good, you know, like that. But because you know, street football, there is no instruction, no rules, no pattern.
Express yourself.
You play, you just show your raw talent when you're on the ball, that stuff like that. So then we always count things that doesn't really matter in today's football. You know, nutmeg, dribbling, you know, so when you dribble, you think you're good.
Which I think you really enjoy doing.
Yeah, so then when I go as a defensive midfielder, you know, then I was playing as number 8, but the man saw me, said, you would be a defensive midfielder, you would be so good. But, you know, a defensive midfielder is a very important role that has to do with a lot of discipline. You are the heart of the team. So when I came there, you know, he said, you're a good player, but you don't listen to me. And then when I go back home, you know, I don't know, people go and watch back their old clip, you know, all those things. I don't know about, you know, I've just coming from Nigeria. So when I go back, I will say, this man don't like me. I mean, I play, you know, I dribble this guy, I make some passes, but, you know, something was missing. Then. So then when I came to Europe, I realized that, okay, even in Europe, it's more strict, you know, it's more tight, you know, more, you know. So when I came, I saw, especially in Spain, even playing in just a non-league academy, it's big problem, because, you know, they are already complaining, you must be here, you must do this. So yes, that was when I realized that, okay, I think I'm not ready yet. Football is about positioning, you know, it's about instruction, you know, you must play to your position, you know, you can't be running everywhere on the pitch. And, you know, that also shaped the way I was playing as a person, and I was more intentional, you know. Because you know how you have this mindset that if you move from this place, it will cost your team, you know. And you know, I'm now playing not just for myself now, but for the team, you know. So that also shaped me, and that was when I now realized that, okay, I think I am now, you know, on the right path, you know, growing as a player. And also it was not a full season, it was just the first half of the season.
Okay.
So I got contacted by a Premier League club in Latvia from there, It was a very, very good because the sport director, I think he came to one of our games. And if you watch our game, the club was basically letting me do my thing. You know, so you could, in 5 minutes you could know, the star player of the team.
Yeah.
So they gave me all the opportunity, and I mean that was how the man said, okay, I can come on trials. I went there, everything was very good. That's another very, very, very close contact with a professional football again.
Team, yeah.
So I went there. This team, as at that time, they usually relegated to second division, but a team was actually, I don't know what happened to them. Probably they had issue, and then the FA of Latvia, I think collected their license, something like that. Yeah, something, one of these things that happen once in a while. So immediately they gave the team automatic ticket again back to playing in the first division again. So they relegated already, but they are like the most favorite, the most competent to play.
Yeah.
Others were the second division, so they came back. They didn't relegate. So this time they wanted to make the team more stronger. Yeah. So they brought me to the team. I came to the team. I destroyed the league. I destroyed the preseason they had. The coach loved me. The management loved me. I mean, I cannot. I don't know how I can explain this to you to understand. They loved me. I had freedom. I played. I had my time. And then another challenge is that people don't talk about is cold. Latvia is a very cold country.
Very cold country. Yeah.
So yes, Czech is cold, but Latvia is something else. You know? When I went there, we were even playing on snow. Snow minus 15 degrees.
Sometimes you guys play indoor.
Outdoor. You don't play indoors. You play outdoors. And I mean, few clubs could
afford the indoor.
Pitch. So the rest of us, we were playing outside. It wasn't really easy for me. But looking at where I'm coming from, this opportunity, I really wanted to play.
Yeah.
And then, I just, I missed that first one in Lithuania. That opportunity to play in the first division. So this one, was so real to me. They were the one that wanted me.
Yeah.
I came and I was doing everything they wanted. The coach had meeting with me so many times. He told me, he said, Stanley, you're a world-class player. I said, I don't think. He said, don't worry. 6 months into this league, you will be worth hundreds of thousands of euros. He told me that you are basically money for us. You are good. You have potential. You will play here. You play here. And I mean, I was there for 1 month and 2 weeks with this club. Everything was fine. They booked me for medicals. First I was on trials. First week I was on trials. Second week, they confirmed that I passed the trials that I can now get a contract. They booked me for medical. That's the first time ever that I'm doing a professional medical. I've never done any medical before. That was when it felt real to me. Because after medicals, what comes next is contract. So when I did medicals, that was when I said, okay, this is beyond, because I know what I'm seeing in the club, the way they welcomed me, the way, I'm not a bench player in the club. I'm a starter in the club. All the preseason games I started, I had 2 assists in the preseason. We played about 3 games, 2 assists in 3 games. That's unbelievable, So I did my medicals, they gave me a new apartment where I will be staying. This is my apartment. It was on my name. So everything was so confirmed to me that I posted on my social media about it. I posted on my medical. I didn't say it was a done deal. I just posted myself going on medicals, and people that knew that I was on the club, know what was about to happen. And they said, oh, congratulations, everything was fine, And then I did my medical the second week. I stayed for another 1 month. So I didn't receive a contract.
Wow.
Yeah. That's the dark side of football.
Nobody tells you.
Yeah. And in this time, I still don't have an agent then. I went just with it was just like a club to club talk. From my club to them. So I went there.
Many people might not really understand what you're saying. They might not even believe it.
Yeah, of course.
Somebody somewhere now be asking, how can you tell me you did your medicals and the club still kept you to stay with them for 1 month? What are you doing there?
I didn't take down the video, the pictures or the videos. It's on my socials there. I didn't take it down. It's there. Everything was there. Everything is still there. Like, it's sometimes when I tell people, of course, it's unbelievable. You have, you do your medicals. Why did they not sign you? So I was there. At some point, I started feeling uncomfortable. I asked my sport director in Czech. I called him. I said, "What is delaying these people? I'm supposed to have signed. what is happening? He said, don't worry, can't you see that they love you, they
Just
give
be
you money,
patient.
patient, they take care of me, like, but I felt like something was not right, I need to get a contract. Other players are coming and they are signing, although the local guys are signing.
Signing, yeah.
But some people come 2-3 days and then they sign and then I'm still here,
What's going on?
So I started panicking, asking but the confidence they were giving to not directly, but the way they treat me, you could see that I'm still part of the plan. So and then 1 month gone, and then it was 2 weeks to the beginning of the season. So I was like, okay, there is no way the season will start without at least them giving me a contract. I think about 1 week or some days, I don't know, 8-9 days before the season, I just got injured. I got injured. They brought a new guy for trials, and the guy came. First contact on the ball was me. It was the white guy made a tackle from behind on my ankle in a minus 15 degree weather, and that was it. My ankle popped. Everybody heard a loud sound, something like that. And I was on the floor. I was also the training like this. I went out. I thought it was a minor thing. When I went home, I couldn't walk properly. I called my manager. I told him everything, but I didn't call my sport director because in my mind I felt like I was still going to push the whole thing. So, and my manager, this guy in US, he told me, he said, what is about to happen? You've not gotten a contract. You need to try your best. Push yourself and play. So I bought some few painkillers. I didn't want to let the club know it was something serious.
It's serious, yeah.
So, but the thing is serious, and then the cold made it worse. I couldn't train properly. While I was also, which is also the professional part, while you are injured, you are supposed to rest.
Yeah.
So I didn't rest. I was training. I was just trying to force myself. Then I got another injury on my back, but it's because of the way I was trying to protect the leg.
Your leg, yeah.
So I didn't know about this, but the injury on my back, I can't explain how I got this lower back pain. The pain on my back, as at that time, was worse than the injury on my leg. Yeah, so because I know, it was now that I know that, okay, yeah, if you have injury, you need to rest, because if you force yourself, you will injure your back because of the way you are protecting the leg. Your body will be trying to protect that leg, and you will injure your back. So the back pain started. The back pain was hell for me, So everything was just happening, The club was seeing the way I'm struggling, even though I'm trying to make efforts. And then they had their reasons why, But I noticed something is delaying my contract.
Yeah.
And I noticed that they were basically doubting where I was coming from, because I was playing in 3rd division in Czech when I came.
Yeah.
So in their mind, it's like, yes, this guy is good.
But
this guy is the best player. Yes, but are we confident in this guy?
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking, that is the reason. So why they were keeping me, delaying me,
they were trying
to see other options they could explore. And to be honest, I felt really bad. I felt used, So when this injury finally happened to me, they saw, they could make a reason out of the whole thing, and then they signed one other guy, and yeah. So, but I was still left there, and they're still trying to pretend that everything is fine, still going to training, but I couldn't train properly, So one day, the sport director, even me as a one point, I was like, I can't push myself, because I was taking painkillers, like 4 or 5 painkillers
a day.
Yes, wow. just to be able to play, but it wasn't working, and I told myself I would rest, because I can't kill myself for this club, So the sport director came to me. He was in my apartment. Meanwhile, he has discussed with my sport director already. I don't know. My sport director was pissed. He was saying, like, this is so unfair,
You guys
this
kept
is so
him for
unfair,
this?
And then as at that time I had like a 2nd division, also professional level in Croatia. They wanted me to come, but I told them that I've done medicals already. This is real story, story. I'm not joking, yeah. So I told them I've done. Till today, this club still follow me on Instagram. The 2nd division. They wanted me so much that they could even, okay, no problem. Let's watch your journey. Let's just be part of it.
Yeah.
Yes. So I told them, no, I've done medicals, everything is fine. So you get, so my sport director said that, was telling the guy, this is so unfair, like, you can't do this to start. Okay, what do you want him to do now? The transfer window will close and all that. This is 1 month and 2 weeks. Nobody would do trial for this long.
Yeah.
You've given him everything. You've given him. You've done medicals for him. Why didn't you give him
for
the
so
contract?
long?
Yeah. So the guy came to. So my sport director couldn't break the news to me. He told the guy to tell me
himself.
that he cannot tell me this news.
Yeah.
Because he can't look me to the face and tell me the news. So the guy came to my apartment. He couldn't look at my face, you know. He couldn't look at my face. He was, you know, that he's sorry for everything that happened. All I did, you know, I mean, enough to make a grown man cry. You know, immediately I was not crying because of the opportunity. I was crying because I didn't listen to my body. Because I have broken my body at that point. My back pain.
Because I can imagine every training session, every friendly game.
Yeah.
You put in everything because you want
these people let me go to trials every day because people were trooping into the club, especially foreign players. So
you were taking
I was fighting against. Yes, I was fighting against everybody. You know, this week, you know, we will have 5-10 players come, and then they would start playing people out. You will see they are playing you out of position. Yeah. They are trying to try the other guy to see how good he will be.
Stanley play from that other position. Yes. Stanley do this. Stanley
play double four. You know, Stanley go play right back. You want to see, you know, all those type of things. I was seeing that happen week in, week out, and you know, this is not. And then nobody could, you know, outplay me in my position, and you still kept me for that long because there's something I noticed about football clubs. They are intentional. They don't want to waste €10. If they keep you and they keep you in an apartment, they let you stay. Just know they want you. Yes,
they don't. You always tell players that these guys are not coming to throw money on you. They want to gain something. Yeah, they really want to gain something. It's a business.
They cannot keep you for because there's a restaurant they paid for me. I don't know how they did it, but I was going there to eat every time.
Free meals. Yeah.
They won't do. Nobody ask anybody. Yeah. Nobody. No club. Yeah, will do that for you if they don't want you. So I was living normal. I was living in a good apartment. So they was just keeping me to explore other options. Then if they don't see nothing,
then they could say, okay, let's go ahead.
Me. Yeah. So I mean, this is where agent comes in. You know, this is the work of an agent. This is where agent will stand and say, no, my players will not be a second option. You can't do this to my player.
1 week, 2 weeks.
Yeah, and then they pull me out. But because, you know, I was basically at their mercy, you know. Yeah, you know, of course the transfer window, you know, closed already. They know that I don't have options. So whatever they say, you know. And to be honest, while this negotiation was the contract thing was taking time, I was basically thinking in my head, should I just open up to these people and let them know if money will be the problem? I don't care.
Yeah, let me just sign.
Yeah, let me play. Pay me €500. Let me
problem.
Play. Yeah, but I didn't want to say because I didn't want to shoot myself on the leg. Because I don't know what was the problem. So I don't go and, you know, talk myself down, you know. But I really wanted to play because the Latvian league, you know, is a very good league. Yeah. You play there, you have good season, you know, I mean, you are done already. Yeah.
Top clubs across Europe, you know, they always, you know, have their eagle eyes, I will say, you know, on that league to see the next talent.
You know what happened? Yeah. Something suspicious happened. Okay. My transfer market profile was changed from my old club while I was there
to this.
Yeah, so many things happened. I mean,
who updated it?
I am very 100% sure that the club updated it. They made my transfer without my consent. I have a screenshot.
But they didn't give you a contract?
Yes, they didn't give me a contract. My transfer market, because I stayed for long. I stayed for more than one
Which means they tried to scare other suitors.
My transfer market changed. Yeah. I was a player under the club profile. You know the way you log into a club transfer market, you see the players. I was there. I was the date I was transferred and everything. And these things, transfer market don't make these mistakes. They don't make this type of mistakes. And you can't just players transfer market can't just move. They can't just move like that. It's not possible. Something must be signed. Something must be done on system. So when this happened, also, you know, that also gave me the hope that something is going to happen here. Yeah. So finally, when he told me, you know, he said, okay, that, you know, I'm injured. They need a player that will be up and running. That was what he told me. And blah blah blah, and then, you know, I was broken. All I could do, I couldn't talk. I just showed him the painkillers that I bought. I showed him. I said, see, this is what I've been doing just because I want to play. And to be honest, the injury I got, it's not like I broke my ankle or dislocated my ankle. I just know probably it's because of the cold. I just needed time, you know, and I will be fine.
Just to heal up.
So, but anyways, you know, that was the end of the road, you know, and I just said, okay, no problem. I packed my things and I went back to check. So
it has really been a tough one, I must say. You know, the struggle that you have really passed through, you know, to make sure that this dream of yours doesn't die. You know, it has not been easy, and I can really see that, you know, that passion, the drive to succeed is there, the hunger, you know, that intestinal hunger, you have really shown it that, you know, no matter what, I must succeed, you know, in this beautiful game. I always call it the beautiful game. You know, it's a beautiful game, but I know it has made you cry before, you know, a lot of times. And I'm sure it's still going to make you smile too one day, you know, and the smile is going to last for a very long time. Now, I'm very sure maybe some scouts will be out there watching this documentary right now. Can you give them just one message, you know, just one message to every scout watching this documentary?
I mean, I have really improved over the years. That's for sure. Like the question you asked me, if I'm ready, I see myself playing. I wouldn't say any level. But I see myself playing in a proper professional setting. Because I have really, you know, I've really improved personally, you know, mentally as a player. You know, I have learned a lot about this football thing, you know, and I think I have what it takes at this point to play. So if you are a scout, you know, watching this video, I think I am basically the right player, you know, to work with, because I'm a player that don't really think about money. Yes, thank God for social media. I make money on social media, so I don't really care. I want to play football. And I want to play football as a full-time professional, not a part-time footballer and then I do the other. I want to play real football. So a lot has happened over the years, but this has made me really strong. So I think I am the best man for the job, you know, right now. And so if a scout listening to me right now, you know, this is the kind of player you want to work with.
And this is still Ubuntu Pitch, and this segment is called In Pursuit of Happiness. And I'm very sure Stanley Godians will definitely find the happiness he's looking for. And we'll be there again, you know, to cover his story when he gets to the top. And surely wish him all the very, very best. Thank you very much, Stanley, for this. And I wish you all the very best.
Thank you so much, bro.
Thank you very much.